Hi, hello, hey. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a painting, and then in the voiceover, I'm going to be talking about my biggest tip for beginners. And it finally happened. Someone finally asked me for art advice. So thank you. And let me tell you, I have thought about making a video like this for a while, but, no one ever asked. So I was like, I'll wait till somebody asks. And somebody did. So I'm going to be talking about my biggest art tip. And they also asked me for art book recommendations. So I think I'm going to put that at the end of the video, just some books that I've read. I'm not a big book person, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask, but I'll show what I've read anyway. Yeah, so first thing, I want to talk about the painting that I'm working on, and then I'll talk about the art tip. This painting was actually the weirdest paint process I've ever had. So the painting I'm working on, I'm actually planning to sell it. Hopefully that works out, but I was really stressed out when I was making it because I'm planning to sell it. So I was like, okay, it needs to be good. And I didn't have I barely had anything go wrong in the painting. I did the sketch super fast, and then I started painting at the same, not just the same day, but the same sitting. I did the sketch and started painting immediately. It went by so fast, but I was really stressed out, and then I was stressed out the whole time I was painting that I didn't even really enjoy the process that much. I think I was also just thinking about this YouTube video or something, so I was totally I don't know, I wasn't in the art mode at all while creating this painting, which is funny because that's what I'm going to be talking about later, is how to be in art mode is one of the main things. But I don't even know, just being in the right mindset while painting. But it was weird because the painting turned out really good, and it was it didn't really have an ugly stage, I feel or anything. It was just fine. The process went by really smoothly, but I was totally I don't know, in a weird mindset or something. It was so weird. I've never struggled so much when nothing went wrong before. But yeah. And also with this painting, I don't know if it's just my imagination or if it actually does. Maybe it's because I've been seeing too much My Little Pony fan art on Instagram, but I feel she ended up looking like human Twilight a little bit, and I can't get that out of my head. Does she look like Twilight, or did I make that up? The hair color is completely different, but I think it's the eye color and the purple/pink stars in the back, and the fact that she is an owl, and then her haircut is kind of similar, and her outfit I feel it's something Twilight would wear. But yeah, I finished it and I was does this look like Twilight Sparkle? Does this look like My Little Pony a little bit? I could also be because I was thinking about unicorns while I was painting. But yeah, anyway, so after the painting is finished, you see the finished painting. Does it look like Twilight Sparkle? When the video gets there, does it look like Twilight Sparkle? Anyway, so that's what I was thinking about while painting. And also, the watercolors I am using are the Magello Mission Gold and Holbein watercolors. I mean, there's lots of other tips too, work on anatomy if you're drawing, right? But one thing that I think is a good tip that I've never heard anyone talk about is I think you gotta surround yourself with art stuff. And what I mean by that is, for me, I go hard on this tip, okay? This is what I do to make sure I'm constantly thinking about it, and to get myself to draw as I gotta be thinking about drawing all the time. That's how I do it. Yeah, so surrounding yourself with art, you can do a lot of different things. Like I said earlier, reading art books, that's a good one. Have the books you read be art tips related, but it doesn't need to be all about art tips. That would be boring if you were just hearing art tips all the time. At least I'd be bored. But you do want to learn a little bit. So, you can read some books, you can watch some videos, and that's pretty much how I learned how to draw, is just from watching YouTube videos. Yeah. I don't really like to read, help I don't know, was that help books? Help how to draw books? I don't read them. I look at them. But I do like to watch a lot of YouTube videos. And YouTube videos can be really helpful too, because you can like see the process. And a lot of times too, they'll like, talk about it as they're drawing, like, oh, this is how I did this. And then you can like see them doing it. So that's why I like videos. But yeah, you can also watch like, documentaries. You could, again, I don't do that one, but you could do that if you like documentaries. There's lots of documentaries about different artists. But the main things also is you should be going to art museums, get in the art stuff, do the art things. Go to your local art museum if you have one. Read your art books if you like to read the art books. Watch YouTube videos. And also, here's another thing that I do. Also just because I like it, but I really like watching like animated stuff, And that also counts as surrounding yourself with art stuff, because guess what? Animated stuff is drawings. But yeah, unless it's like 3D. I don't know. That's a little different, but it's always funny. I watch a lot of like anime, which is like 2D a lot of the time, so I always forget there's like Western stuff. It's always like 3D now. I'm always like, oh yeah. But I also like to watch a lot of like shows from the 2000s where it's like not 3D. So anyway, watching animated stuff is helpful. You can watch movies, shows, and like think about the art in it, Make sure like if you're like gonna like analyze like something, if you're gonna be like, let me analyze this movie, give me some art tips. Like think about like when you're looking at like an artist you like or something. Like if you're watching a YouTube video, you're at the art museum, you're like, doing the things I'm suggesting here, is think about like why you like something, I think that's another really good tip, is like you're following an artist, like what do you like about that artist's like drawings or paintings, right? That's an important one. And I mean, sometimes, like you don't know, but like think about it, think about it. Yeah, so surround yourself with art stuff, I think, is one of the most important art tips, just to get you like to be thinking about it more if you want to go like, fully into the art pool. There's a lot of things with art too. I think also giving art tips is complicated because like I don't know what you're trying to draw, But yeah, so I also just want to say too, this advice I'm giving doesn't sound like helpful for you, then like, you don't have to do it. I really hate when I'm watching like an art video and they're like, you have to do this. And I'm like, I don't have to do anything. Take that. I don't want to do that. But yeah, anyway, so if you don't want to do my advice, then don't do it. Problem solved. Oh my gosh. Can watch movies that have drawings in them, if that's like the stuff that you like. And I don't know what the realistic art equivalent of that would be. So you could like watch not animated movies and be like, yeah, I draw that. I don't even know how that would work. I don't know. I like to watch things and be like, that's a cool art style. I like this about it. Maybe I'll try to draw that with my own like things, But yeah, and like also obviously if you're on like the social medias, like make sure you're following lots of artists so you see things around. I know like a lot of people have this like, or I don't know. I don't really have this, but I see like a lot of people, they don't like seeing other like artists because it like stresses them out or something. So they're like, oh, I can't draw like that. Like I'm not good, right? But like, who cares? Like it's fine. There's lots of things I can't draw too. Like nobody can draw everything. Like that'd be crazy. But yeah, so I think like following like lots of artists, looking at their stuff, I think that's like helpful, I do know for some people though, seeing that stuff like makes them like not want to draw. But for me, seeing I mean, I think that's obvious by now if you're listening to the story. Seeing art stuff makes me want to draw. But yeah. I don't know if you're the opposite, like how that would work. I guess none of these tips would work if you're the opposite, if seeing art stuff like makes you not want to draw. But for me, it gets me thinking about it, so it makes me want to draw. Like, honestly, a lot of times when I'm like in like an art block, it's because I'm not watching enough art YouTube videos. I need to be watching all the videos, seeing the art everywhere, and then it gets the creative juices flowing. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I see someone do watercolor painting, makes me want to watercolor paint, you know? I see this happens to me all the time. If I watch a video where someone's acrylic painting, I'm like, I need to do an acrylic painting. I don't even like acrylic painting, but now I need to do one. Just like surrounding yourself with other art as like, for me, it's really helpful. And that's my biggest advice. I don't know if this is good advice or not, because like, I don't know what you're trying to draw, you know? Yeah, I think that's the best one. Just like follow lots of artists and like, you know, think about like what you like with their art, like why you like something, you know? You're like, oh, I really like the way that artist draws, like, I don't know, draws hair, or I like the way they shade their eyes or whatever, you know? Like, take note of what you like about something, and that'll be really helpful in your own art, because then you can incorporate that into your own stuff. And that's what most artists' style is. It's not their own style. It's a combination of styles they've seen. Yeah, that's why I always get mad. People are like, oh my god, I've seen someone draw something similar to that. Or like, your art style looks like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, everything looks like each other. That's how it works. Like, people say, and I feel like this is totally true, but I heard people say, like, nothing is original anymore, and I think that's 100% true. You should not, though, 100% fully copy something. I mean, okay, you can do that, but, like, you know, don't do that and then say that you, like, you know, you made it up. Like, it's totally fine to, like, you know, like, practice drawing something. Like, one of the ways, too, that I started out was I would just, like, find an anime picture and then I'd draw it. I'll show them at the end, but I did have those how to draw anime books, and I did draw the pictures in them. I mean, that's what they were for, so that's what I was doing. But yeah, like, it's also a good way to start out. But, like, don't, like, you know, do that and then be like, I 100% made this up. I did everything, you know? But yeah. And also, obviously, too, like, I mean, if you're a beginner, you're probably not going to do this, but, like, you know, don't claim it's yours and then try to, like, sell it or something. You know, copying stuff is fine, just, like, don't, like, claim that it's yours. And a lot of times, too, I also hear people saying, like, you shouldn't, like, copy someone's drawing and then post it on social media, too. And, I mean, I think it's probably fine, just, like, you know, in the caption, if you're gonna, like, post a drawing that's, like, a redraw of someone else's drawing, just, like, you know, say it in, like, the caption, be like, oh, I drew blah blah blah's thing or whatever, I tried to, like, recreate someone's drawing, like, just, like, you know, like, say it in the caption, right, and, like, tag them or whatever. And if you do want to do that, I mean, you can always do lots of draw this in your style. I draw this in your styles. Is that plural or is that not plural? Draw this in your style. I don't think you add an S. I used to do those all the time. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably do if you're on the art social media already. But if you don't, on Instagram and, like, other places too, a lot of artists, they'll do draw this in your styles, which is, like, they'll post a drawing and then they'll be like, oh, this is a draw this in your style. So, and then you, like, if you want to, obviously, you will recreate the drawing, so then you'll draw it in your own style, and then you'll post it so they can see it. And then a bunch of people draw the same drawing in their different styles, you know, and different mediums too. Although I do kind of have a quarrel with Instagram because it's, like, mostly digital art on there, and draw this in your styles are, like, it's like 90% digital art from what I see, and then digital art wins, like, every single time. And I'm like, okay, they'll pick, like, 10 winners, and I'm like, couldn't you pick one traditional artist? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay. Beginner artists doing draws in your styles, I feel like it's a good idea, you know? And there's, like, lots of them, like, on Instagram, too. I used to follow someone who, like, their account was, like, posting draws in your styles, just so you could, like, see the different ones that were going on, you know? So you could look for an account like that, or just like, look up, draw this in your style, and then see if there's any good ones that you want to draw. Another tip that younger me would have hated is, yes, you should draw from reference photos sometimes, okay. Little younger me was always against that. I was like, no, I'm not gonna draw that. But see, here's the thing. You can draw from reference photos sometimes, and then for your main paintings, not use reference photos, okay? That's what I do. I have to, like, build up my mental catalog of things. So, like, in my last video, I drew from reference photos, and I was drawing, like, Victorian dresses. I've been drawing a lot of different, like, clothes from reference photos lately, just because I want to build up my mental clothing catalog, I want to draw a bunch of different clothes, and then when I'm drawing, then I can be like, oh, I have an idea, let's draw this dress, and it's like a mixture of different things that I've seen, And clothing is hard to draw. Like, ruffles, those are hard. Sometimes you need to learn how to draw this from reference photo first. A lot of times, too, with my paintings, since, it depends on what you're trying to do, too. Like, if you're trying to draw realistic art, then, like, you're gonna need reference photos. That's how realism works. Like, you're drawing a realistic thing, so you can't just, like, make it up in your head. It needs to be, like, a real thing. Like, it's not realism if you're not using a reference photo. Like, that's kind of what realism is. But if you're drawing, like, something made up, then make it up. You don't need a reference photo, but you can still use a reference photo. Or, like I said, you could do what I do, which is I do, like, reference studies, and then I have a mental catalog of what things look like in my head, and then I will, draw that without a reference photo. Like, for the painting I'm working on right now, the only thing I looked up was how to draw the owl. Or I did need a reference photo for the owl, and that is part of the reason where you don't actually see me drawing the owl that much. It's because, like, I had to take my phone down from filming to look at the owl reference photo, and then after I worked on the owl, I'd put my phone back up and start filming again. So I don't think there's that much, like, footage of me drawing the owl, because I kept having to look at my phone. But yeah, I do need reference photos for animals most of the time, but, like, for people, I don't look at them for, like, paintings most of the time. I mean, it depends. If I'm doing stuff in my sketchbook, though, every once in a while, I do like to do, like, a spread of, like, reference photos. Moral of the story for the reference photo story is, depending on what you're trying to draw, what you want to draw, you can use reference photos or not. I also think I probably should have clarified this earlier. I'm talking about, like, pictures. Like, when I say reference photo, I'm talking about, like, an actual, like, picture. I'm not talking about a drawing. I used to always use drawings as reference photos, which, like, it is helpful if you're trying to draw stylized stuff, but, like, you do want to try to, like, draw stuff from, like, photographs, too. Just because, obviously, like, unless it's, like, a realism drawing, which, even then, I don't know why you're trying to use a realism drawing as a reference photo when you could just be using the picture. Since stylized art is not realism, it's not going to be, like, that helpful for a reference photo. I mean, it is. It is and it isn't. It's good for, like, a style study, I guess is what you'd call it. Like, try and draw, like, that style. But for, like, a reference photo, you want to use, like, a photograph. Tip for finding reference photos that I probably should have said at the beginning is I like to use Unsplash, which is this, like, app where they have, like, photos that are, like, free to use. I heard about it from another art YouTuber, and that's where I get a lot of my reference photos. Just because, like, they're there for you to use them for stuff. So, yeah, I don't think they're there for you to use for, like, art specifically. So a lot of them, like, aren't really, like, that helpful for reference photos, but, like, you gotta kind of, like, search for good ones on there. I'm gonna be honest, but they're there. You just gotta find them. A lot of times, if I need, like, a specific reference photo, I'll just, like, look on Google. And like I said, the only time that I really use reference photos, I mean, okay, I didn't need an owl for this one, but, like, normally it's just for stuff in my, like, sketchbook, so, it's not like it's that important. I think another good idea for, like, beginner tips would be, like, an art supply video. So if you want me to, like, talk about, like, what art supplies I think are good for beginners, and, like, I can do a video about that too. Here's the finished painting. I'll edit it so it shows the finished painting right here. And yeah, I will show some art books. Okay, we are in the art room. This is the art bookshelf. So I think, yeah, these are the ones that I started with. I'm trying to see which ones else are like older. Most of these are actually kind of new, but these are kind of how I started. My lovely floor covered in paint. Yeah, I think it was this one. I don't even know if I remember anymore, but it has like, I'm trying to find a good example. Yeah. See, like, you know, the how to draw the thing, and then there's like a picture at the end. So I used to draw from here a lot. Ooh, okay, quick mention is this book. I recently got this one. This is from like an old Disney like concept artist, and there's a bunch of like concept paintings for old Disney movies in here. So pretty. Yeah, Mary Blair's beautiful Disney artist. I love her paintings. Okay, and in this shelf, which is in a different room, but these are my fashion books, which is a new thing I've been reading, and these are so helpful for drawing clothes. So this one is like the most helpful historical fashion book ever. Like literally like that big like period of time, you know? And the drawings are like really small, so there's lots of them on each page, and it's like just like clothing. So this is really helpful for finding like a clothing reference photo. I draw a lot of stuff from this book. And then I also recently started getting these, which is Sears catalogs, like different like decades of fashion. And it's just like ads, but it's like super cool just for like seeing what people like used to dress like, you know? And I also just really like vintage fashion, and I like drawing it, so these are really helpful. Yeah, these are the ones I have, and when I want to draw something, I put a little bookmark in there. Oh, I also have this one, which is a bunch of Victorian illustrations. It's like super pretty. See, I just like the picture books. And also surrounding yourself with art. I think this counts, but you can also read just like, oh, it's one of the penny things. Anyway, you can also read like books that just like have pictures in them, and I think that counts as surrounding yourself with art, you know, graphic novels, comics, mangas. I also like to read those, so I'm counting that. Yeah, those are my main art tips. Surround yourself with lots of art, and with artists that you like and follow. Think about what you like about their things, their art, so you can incorporate it into your own stuff. And I don't know, what was the other one? Oh yeah, reference photos. I don't know. Oh, also with reference photos too, if you can't find a specific pose, you know, you can always take a picture of yourself and use that as a reference photo too. I do have to like look at my hands a lot while I'm drawing to like figure out how to draw the thing. I'm like, what, where? Yeah, I think a lot of artists do that. I don't normally take pictures of myself for reference photos because that's like too much of a hassle, but like, you know, if you can't find what you're looking for, you could always do that. Yeah, anyway, so those are my main tips. I hope some of this maybe was helpful. And most importantly, does it look like Twilight Sparkle? Does she look like Twilight Sparkle?